I bought a Ghost Drift S from Drift Innovation a while back. Ordered it directly from Drift. All was well. Got the order confirmation. The order was dispatched. Received it in 2 days. So very good service in terms of supplying it, shipping it, etc. I started using it, and it was apparent sort of the first few sort of minutes in there was a problem with it. Well, first of all, it froze. Oh well, it's a brand new camera, maybe there's just a little bit of a glitch. It doesn't matter too much. I just had to take the battery out because it wouldn't switch off. So I took the battery out, put it back in, switch it on, switch it off, all good. Put it on charge, left it overnight, and next day, sort of took it off the USB thing, tested it out, sort of went through the settings and set it up the way I liked it, and then left it on my sort of bedside cabinet overnight. Next day, picked it up to play with it again, and the battery was depleted. I thought, well, that's a bit sketchy. So I did another test, charged it up again, left it overnight. Next day, battery was depleted again. I looked online in the forums, and it would appear that it is a fault with the camera, that even though it's on, even though it's switched off, the battery depletes for some reason. So I got in touch with Drift, and I said, look, there's a problem with the camera, can you please replace it under warranty because it's a faulty product. The lady that was dealing with it at the time proceeded to ask me all these sort of questions, saying, can you try charging it with a different USB cable? And I was like, well, you only supply one, so no. I was fully aware of what the problem was, and she just didn't want to really hear my side of the story, really. She was just asking me to do all these redundant tests, and by this point I had received the memory card, so I kind of had been sort of recording, but only a couple of minutes. I literally had about, 5-10 minutes use out of the camera, and that's including me fiddling with the settings, so really not much use at all. And in that time, the battery depleted twice, I think, and also it froze once, to the point where I had to take the battery out. She was like, oh well, we do advise that you take the battery out, because otherwise it could deplete. And I was like, well, that's all good and well if it wasn't for the fact that every time you take the battery out, the time code resets. So it's a right pain in the backside having to reset the time code every time you put the battery back into it. The short story is, I was sort of sending messages back and forth with her for about a week, and then at the end of that week she decided, oh okay, yeah, well, it could be a faulty battery, I'll send you one in the post. And I was like, well, yeah, I suppose it could be, but I think it's more to do with the camera itself rather than the battery. Anyway, I received another battery, and I was like, okay, great, yeah. I stuck it in the camera. There was a third of charge on it, so I was like, alright, we'll test it like this, because whether it had a full charge or not, it doesn't make a difference. The result's going to be the same if the camera's faulty. So I just left it in the camera overnight, and next morning, bam, battery depleted again. So I contacted them and said, look, I did the test, battery's depleted again, can you please replace the camera now? It's obviously the camera. And she was like, oh, but did you, fully charge the battery? And I was like, well, no, because obviously if it is the camera that's faulty, the result's going to be the same. It's just going to take longer to discharge. And at this point, waste more of my time. I've got a faulty product, I need you to replace it. Anyway, she was like, oh, we really do want you to sort of charge it up, and then yes, we'll replace the camera. I was like, all right then. And then I said, I'd expect you to replace the camera if that's the case immediately if I find that the test still gives the same result. Didn't get a reply back. So then I basically did the test over a weekend, and on the Monday, yes, the camera was depleted again. So I sent another email basically saying the same thing. Look, can you please replace it? And she came back again saying, oh, well, you know, it could be the memory card. What memory card are you using? I was like, look, it's not the memory card. The camera was doing this before the memory card was even anywhere near close to it, because I hadn't anywhere near it, because I hadn't received it in the post to test it with. So it's not a problem with anything to do with the memory card. Anyway, she kept going banging on about it. Oh, the memory card this, what brand are you using? Wasted another 2 days of my time. And I said, look, that's enough now, replace it, right? So she disappeared off the scene, and another guy started talking to me saying, oh, hello, yes, it does seem like it's a problem with the camera. Can you please post it to us? We'll test it and then we'll send you a replacement. And I was like, oh, great, now we're getting somewhere. So I sent it off to Drift Innovation via recorded, insured, super duper packaged up delivery. I'll wait, you know, sent it off on a Thursday. I thought, oh, maybe it'll take a couple of days to get there. And then on Monday, I just so happened to check, because I hadn't heard anything from them. I checked whether it had been received or not, and it'd been received, signed for, on the Friday, and they hadn't got back to me, right? And this was in the morning as well, so there was no excuse. So I got a bit concerned. I was like, well, why didn't they got back to me? So I emailed him and I said, look, this person has signed for it. Obviously, you know, what's going on? And he's like, oh, that person, there's no person with that name that works in our building. I was like, oh, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. So my camera's now been lost. Great. So anyway, I did a little bit of research and I found out actually who the person is that signed for it, and I know exactly who it is. So I sent the person at Drift the details of the person I needed to talk to. And I was like, okay, please, you know, please confirm you received this, let me know, blah, blah, blah. For 2 days, I didn't hear a goddamn thing back from them. And I was like, getting more worried and worried. They've lost my camera and I'm going to get screwed. I got back in touch with them. And I mean, in those 48 hours, I must have emailed them 3-4 times. It's not like they didn't have my email address or anything like that to respond to, because I gave them my phone number as well. I got sick and tired of waiting. And I went on their Facebook page and basically explained everything. I was just very concise and said, if you don't reimburse me, provide me with a warranty replacement, or reply to me, I will pursue legal action, because it's not fair. You know, someone made a mistake, the camera's gone missing, I'm the consumer, I'm your client, I shouldn't have to suffer that. Within 15 minutes of me sending that Facebook message on social media, I had a reply on the message on Facebook, and I had a reply in my inbox. And they were like, oh, well, you know, yeah, we can see it's been signed for, even though we don't know where the camera is, yeah, we're going to send you a replacement. And I was like, huh. So it took me to threaten them with legal action to actually pull their finger out and do something and actually abide by my statutory consumer rights, which, by the way, changed on, I think it was October 1st, 2015. So I unexpectedly received a package the next day with a brand new camera. Surprise, surprise, they actually did what they promised to do. So I was quite pleased at this point, because I had a brand new camera. Who wouldn't be pleased? So yeah, and it's the camera I'm using to film right now. So, you know, I'm pretty pleased at the moment, and it works. The battery doesn't discharge, and it works perfectly. So happy days. And my visor's fogged up. Overall, I think the experience with Drift has been a bit touch and go. I mean, the product is great. It's a fantastic camera. I really like it. But it's just been a bit of a pain in the backside, really. Customer service wasn't great, because I was telling them what the problem was, and they were completely ignoring what I was telling them. It was obvious that they supplied me a faulty product to start with. But whatever. You know, it got sorted in the end. The camera's fantastic. The settings on it are great. You know, I'm still sort of discovering what it can and can't do. So yes, there is a bit of a consistency issue in my videos because the quality sometimes, you know, kind of varies a little bit. And I think that's just down to the time of year, because I mean, sometimes I'm filming, you know, close to dawn or dusk. Other times it's quite bright. But the thing that attracted me most to this camera over the GoPros and those kind of cameras was the fact that the lens swivels and the attachment is as simple as it can be to whatever surface you want to attach it to. So basically, if the camera is at a bit of an angle, you can just sort of rotate the angle of the lens to I guess straighten up the image again, which is a great feature. It's fantastic. That's about it really. I mean, overall, yes, the product is great. Drift customer service wasn't that good. Yeah, the problem got solved in the end, so not a major issue, I suppose. I do recommend the Drift if you're looking for a helmet cam, something a little bit cheaper than a GoPro, I guess. I do not recommend dealing with the customer service, but you know, the problem got solved, so fair play to them. I do take my hat off to them for getting the camera or the replacement camera over to me in a day. That was really, really good of them. Anyway, that's it. Here's Henley.